candy prices goodbye. Hershey hiking prices by 8% as higher ingredient, fuel and packaging costs eat into the bottom line. It's not just Hershey. More than a dozen companies announcing similar price hikes just this year. So why does the government keep saying inflation is not a problem? Craig Smith is the chairman of Swiss America, and he wrote a book on inflation, and it's called The Inflation Deception. Craig, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Stuart.
The government says inflation is roughly 2% a year. You don't believe that? What is it?
No, you know, government loves inflation, Stuart, and the funny part about it is that if you listen to what Friedrich Hayek said, he said history is generally a history of inflation. And it's generally engineered by the government for the benefit of the government. Look at what Hershey's done. This is a perfect example, Stuart. They're paying more money for milk, dairy, so on and so forth. The same things we're paying more money for. They're having to increase their prices and pass it on to the consumer. For 3 years, they haven't done that, Stuart. They've cut their margins. Now those prices are being passed on. The consumer's going to feel this, as you said in your intro, with dozens of other companies, because you can't keep cutting your margins. You have to hold your profits. And I'm surprised it took this long, quite frankly, to see price inflation, because when the Fed expanded its balance sheet by $4 trillion, Stuart, that money has to show up in inflation somewhere.
How do they
keep
juggle
in mind
the numbers?
one last thing. Inflation benefits debtors and punishes savers. With the United States being the largest debtor in the world, Stuart, you can assure yourself they love more inflation.
All right, well, how does the government juggle the numbers? I look at the Consumer Price Index. It's released every month. I look at it very, very closely. And it says the price of this, and this, 100 and odd items in a basket of items, they've gone up X, Y, Z. How are they juggling those numbers?
Well, Stuart, you know, as you know, they put the PCE in there, and they look at the PPI, and they look at the CPI, but it really strains. I shouldn't say strain. It's actually an insult to the common sense of the average American. Ask a person tomorrow if tuitions cost them more or if their grocery bill costs them more. My wife and I take care of my mother-in-law in a care facility in Dallas, Texas, a very nice one. Stuart, my increase last year on Grandma was not 2%, it was 9%. So everybody knows prices cost more. Now, how do they do it? It's simple. You just change the basket, Stuart. You say, well, you're paying less for a computer, you're paying less for an iPod, you're paying less for this little piece of electronics, so that offsets the extra that you're paying for gasoline and paying for dairy. So we have no inflation. Another thing, Stuart, think about it. If they can make the inflation number low, there's less adjustments to Social Security, less adjustments to Medicare, and less adjustments to cost of living increases. So there's a benefit to the government to play with the numbers.
Craig Smith, thanks very much for joining us, as always. Thank you, sir.
Good to see you.